Hello guys, this is Vividly Denisa. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my experience making friends in Japan. It's June, so it's 10 months since I've been in Japan. It'll be a year in August. And I think I've said this before, my Japanese language skills is not that great. I'm learning through different, tactics, but it's been a lot slower than I thought. And I think this is more so because in my job, I speak English all the time. I'm an English teacher. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to speak Japanese to my students because they're there to learn English. And my coworkers, even if I'm like, please, can you speak to me in Japanese so I can get better? They start and then they go back to English. And I'm just like, ugh, I want to learn, but it's so hard. And so the only opportunities I get to speak it or listen to it is when I'm out of the house, like I'm going to the store or I'm just walking around or something like that, then I get to hear it. I think I'm much better hearing than speaking, listening than speaking. And so my process is going a lot slower than I would have hoped, but hopefully I will get there eventually. It will just take time. So I'm saying this because I think this is one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to make friends here. There are young people in my city. I see them all the time. But they kind of just, what is the word? Not all of them, of course, but they kind of keep you at an arm's length. And I think this is expected because I'm so obviously a foreigner, and they may think, oh, she only speaks English, which that's true. But I noticed that a lot of Japanese, they're not quite confident in their English speaking skills. They may know a lot of English, they may know how to speak it, but their confidence sometimes is not there. And so if they see an English speaker or someone who's a foreigner, they just kind of keep themselves away because they don't want to embarrass themselves or anything like that, which I'm like, you're not perfect at a language. You don't have to feel embarrassed. But I get that feeling. I know that feeling. So they keep you at an arm's length. But then there's some, of course, who will come up to you. I've had random people come up to me, just say hello, hi. I've had old men tell me God bless you. It's been weird. And then I've had a younger person one time came up to me at a 7-Eleven and was like, oh, kawaii, you're cute. Can I take a picture with you or something like that? Yeah, so you have some of them who are just I don't want it. And then you have some that are like, oh, I want to talk to you and stuff like that. So it's really difficult. And then I've, tried meeting people through Bumble. It's an app, or a get-together kind of app it's a get-together of a group of people where there's a common topic. So if you want to learn Japanese, if you want to learn English, then Japanese people and English-speaking people come together and have a party or so. I've met people through there. And one thing that bugs me, and it's not a generalization because I don't think all Japanese people do this, but I've heard stories and I've had experience. I've heard stories from my friends, I've heard stories from YouTube videos, and I've had experiences where you can be talking to a Japanese person online, which is a communications app like Kakao Talk or WhatsApp. You can be talking to them online, just talking, texting, you meet up a few times, and then they go silent. You don't hear anything from them. And this happened, one example is someone I met from Bumble. He lives in my city. We talked, we hung out, we had dinner, all that stuff. It was fun. And then next thing you know, he went silent. And I'm like, who does that? But he goes silent for 5 months, And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he texts me and he's like, "What's up? How you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know you." Like, it was very strange. And he was like, "But we're friends. I thought we were friends." And I'm I'm a blunt person. If something rubs me off the wrong way, like, I will tell you. And so, but I didn't sound mean about it. But I was just like, we haven't spoken for months. We're not friends. Like in my culture in America, we're acquaintances at best. We don't call those kind of people friends. If I don't know you, I haven't spoken to you in months, then I don't consider you a friend. Like, my friends, we talk to each other. You know, whether it's through text or on Facebook or stuff like that. Like, we keep tabs on each other in some way. Like, even if it was on Facebook and you're not texting every day, you're liking pictures, you're commenting, you're doing something like that to keep in touch with each other, rather than just like going silent and then popping up every once in a while talking about how you doing. And so, yeah, I was telling him, and he was like, "Oh, I just didn't feel like talking to anyone for 5 months. You haven't spoken to anyone in 5 months." But yeah, we went back and forth about it. He apologized, said was never gonna do it again, and then he did again. And I'm like, "Dude, I have no time. Like, I see you and don't see you." That's where my head is at right now. But yeah, so it occurred, like, I watched videos about that before I came to Japan, and a part of me was like, it'll probably happen to me, but it's happened with such frequency. I'm like, is this really how they treat their friendships here? Is this like a common thing? And I asked my students, because I didn't tell them the story, but I was like, how like, I would ask them questions like, your closest friends, how many times a week would you speak to them? And they would be like, once a month. And I'm like, they're your closest friends? Like, it's very strange to me, because I come from a different culture, and I acknowledge that it's a cultural difference, but I guess living here is kind of hitting me. But I just want to let you know that if that happens to you, then it's not you, all right? It's more so them. That's kind of how they want to do things. And so if you're talking to someone and all of a sudden they're not talking to you anymore, then that's fine. Find somebody else who at least is closer to you, or, you know, you guys can hang out, or maybe someone you work with, or just find somebody else. Don't waste your time waiting for them to respond or waiting for them to text you. If they're like that, then you do them like that too. It's like, I can do it too. Hey, two can play this game, right? So yeah, it's just been very hard and very lonely, because they're not, you know, the only friend I have, I would say a friend, is another foreign, you know, teacher. She works at ALT, and I think I've mentioned her on this channel before. And she's my closest friend here. We always hang out, we always text each other, you know, talk about stuff, hang out, go to places with each other. And she's the only person, I feel like if I didn't have her, I would be super lonely, because it's already lonely as it is. You know, not being able to speak the language, your family are miles and miles and miles away, and it's a different place and a different kinds of people, it's a different culture, so it's very lonely. And if you don't have at least that one person, then it can feel very, very lonely. So yeah, I would like to make other friends, but it's a slow and very draining process. So it's just something that you kind of have to think about. I think anyone has to think about when you're moving to a different country, and there are different things that could be a barrier. But eventually, I feel like you will get there. So don't let it weigh so heavily on your mind. Find things to keep you busy. If it's watching movies, download Netflix. If you have to, I have Netflix. I watch movies, go on the internet, stuff like that. Go out, like just walk around sightseeing. I'm sure there are a lot of places in your city or your town you haven't been to. Like, do stuff that are fun, that'll keep you busy and keep your mind out of like, oh, I wish I had a friend or something like that. Yeah, because it can get very lonely being in another country all by yourself. So yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about for this video. Please stay tuned for my next video, probably this time next week. And I will be seeing you guys later. This has been Vividly Denisa. Have a good day. Peace.